Hi everyone. Well, I guess something's up now. Yeah, they're building a third house here, would you believe it or not? 4 years ago, there used to be one house. Nice property too. Now, so close between the other sides. Gee. Anyway, well, as you notice that my Phormictopus auratus molted, I didn't really have a good ventral shot of her, but I'm going to be doing it today because I'm planning a big rehouse video. So there's a lot of teas that we have to rehouse, namely the Scolopendra S.alternans, the giant Haitian centipede, which is going inside Marilyn's old 5-gallon tank. I think it should be enough space for her. I'm going to reuse this tank here for the Vinegaroon. I have the fracta I have to rehouse. I have these two chalcodes. And I think there was one more else. Yeah, possibly the auratus is going to need a rehouse. As you can see, she's huge. And I think she'll be better off in a 5 to 6 liter shoebox enclosure. Awesome. So, the very first thing I'm going to talk to you about is substrate choices, because I know this comes up very frequently on my channel. Let's see which substrate choices are the best. And I recommend either one or two substrates. One, you can buy some inorganic potting soil, which means no fertilizer. It's great for your high humidity species like your T. blondie or your H. lividum. But usually I tend to use eco-earth. Now eco-earth is the substrate that you buy from the pet store, and I also call it the brick type earth. And this is what it looks like. You can either buy the Zoom head enclosure variety or the other brands. They're all the same, really. So this expands 7 to 8 times its normal size. So these can hold at least 7 to 8 liters of substrate, which is absolutely really cool. So this is what I'm doing right now. I'm actually making the substrate for the teas. I'm actually going to let it dry over the past few hours. As you can see, the substrate comes roaring to life. I'm gonna have to wring it to dry. It got dirty hands. But anyway, this is what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to take a bucket and fill it up to around 3 to 4 liters of water, which is done. Wait about 30 minutes, and then it's ready. For teas, especially for your dry humidity species, you kind of have to leave it dry in the sun. Unfortunately, today is not a really good sunny day as yesterday was. But anyway, at least it'll be good for the higher humidity species like the S.alternans. So I'm just going to crush the substrate, and it should be fine for at least a couple of hours before it starts to dry, and then I start to rehouse them. Yeah. Alright, so I waited 4 days just to make sure that my eco-earth over here is pretty dry, and seems a little bit on the moist side, but I think it should be fine. So, I'm explaining now what I'm going to be doing for the rehouse video, because there's a lot of inverts that I have to rehouse, and you'll see exactly how I'll do it. So, we'll start off with my Lasiodora fracta, which is the Brazilian smoky gray bird eater. Definitely needs a rehouse, as you can see. Oh yeah, she's pretty pissed, but she's going to be very happy. I'm actually going to give her this KIS 2-liter container. I got these from Canadian Tire, and ultimately you could probably find it in Staples or Walmart. These cost around $2 to $3, and they're excellent for your 3-inch size juveniles. So all I did was just make air holes with a soldering gun on the perimeter of the container. And I did the same thing for this one here, which is going to rehouse, which one is it? There we go. Not the S.alternans. That one is getting a 5-gallon. this guy here, the Cuban Bronze. And I did look at the ventral shot, and sad enough it's a male. But he's actually a very beautiful male. So, I'm going to design them just like I usually do with my other terrestrial species. Eco-Earth with a piece of cork bark on its side, and that way it could hide and do what she wants. This is Chelsea, my 2.5-inch confirmed Canthoscuria suina. So I'm going to design the setup very similar to like this. Alright everyone, so these are the two enclosures for the juvenile L. fracta and P. auratus. So I'll go through the basic steps of how I did the tank. Well, as you saw, these were the 2-liter shoebox enclosures as you just showed earlier. All I did was just make air holes. Added Eco-Earth. Mounted 2 cork barks on the side, so kind of looks like a cave. And the water bowls, they're nothing more than your spice jar containers. The covers. I just took out the covers and there you go. $1 water dish. Not too bad. Alright, so let's go transfer this Lasiodora fracta. Oh, she wants me. She wants me good. It's going to be a lovely tea to transfer. Oh yeah, she is mad. She is mad. You can see the fangs are out now. Alright, Willow, settle yourself down. I'm actually going to make her climb into the enclosure. Okay, so take your paintbrush and just prod the tea very gently. Of course, you have the hair kick. So you have to be very careful with Lasiodoras. They're not docile as you think they are. Ooh, I'm feeling the hairs already. Come on. Oh! That was a bite. That was a bite. Come on. Be a good girl now. Go inside your enclosure. Be happy. There we go. I think it's a good size for her for temporarily until she grows. And probably within 1 or 2 more molts she's going to go into those 5-liter shoebox enclosures. Ah, of course. You have to make things difficult for John, right? I'll add water later on in the video. Alright, so that was the fracta. Done. Now for this Picancerides relative, the Phormictopus auratus, which is the Cuban gold. As you recently saw in my latest video that he molted, and I thought for sure it was a female until I looked at the ventral shot. Then I confirmed it with the molt. He's a guy, unfortunately. But anyway, this is actually a really cute, nice looking species, especially a nice addition to the Phormictopus genus in my collection. I know like the video, excuse me, and what was it saying? Yeah, the video didn't really capture its impressive colors, so I'm going to get them out to show you what a Cuban Bronze looks like. It's fantastic looking tea. And it doesn't look like a Picancerides at all. Come on, man. I think I'm going to call you Don Manuel. Yeah, my guy. Don't want to handle this one because I know Phormictopus are very evil species. As you probably see my Cancerides. Yeah, if you look at his ventral shot, I'm not sure if this is coming out clear on camera. It's not. I just want to show you the colors on the P. auratus. Come on, baby. Good boy. Good boy. I'm trying to get a nice color shot of him. There we go. There we go. You can see. This is why they call it the Cuban Bronze. From what I'm seeing, I'm looking at the specimen right now. It's kind of a black color, legs to them, a bronze carapace, which is why they call them the Cuban Bronze, and red hairs on the abdomen. Very cool looking species. Kind of has like a purple sheen to them in the abdomen. Makes it so cool. But again, these guys get very defensive as they age. So yeah, can't wait to see how big you get when he'll mature. Probably like 6 to 8 inches. So now for the Vinegaroon. First I'm going to soak the substrate with water. This is how I provide humidity to my teas. See how the bottom layers are getting wet? This is what you need. This is what you're supposed to do. If you just spray the enclosure with the spritzer bottle, you're really not giving that much humidity. All it is just stressing out the tea, and then probably a couple of hours later, your humidity is going to dissipate and not be good. At least now that the bottom layers are getting wet, that way it will take time for the humidity to climb up and out of the enclosure. So if you have like a Aphonopelma lividum that you're going to rehouse in a critter keeper, all you would have to do is just soak the substrate. For the substrate for your H. lividum, I would probably recommend using inorganic peat moss, since it retains much more humidity than eco-earth, and then you can add like vermiculite. There's good additives since it retains the humidity much more better. And then you would probably block off most of the sides with tape. Like you would tape all around the circumference and this part here, and then leave this part open. If you have some restrictive ventilation, you're going to retain your humidity so much better than just to simply just spray the tank every now and then. Okay, so I think this should be good for my Vinegaroon. I'm sure he or she is going to be loving it in there. Now, this Vinegaroon is actually pretty calm, so I'm going to take it out. Okay, so I'm hoping you can actually see what I'm doing. So I'm just going to bring the tank here. This is actually a really cool species. Has no relation to scorpions or spiders. And you can see I'm not afraid to actually hold this thing, even though it looks creepy as it would make out to be, but they're actually not that bad at all. Isn't that cool? Vinegaroon handling. Now, I don't really recommend handling Vinegaroons because too much handling can stress them out and they don't really benefit from handling that much. So, he's going to go back into his enclosure. And there we go. No squirt of vinegar, so that's pretty cool. Ah, look at him. He's happy. He's so much happier than living in that little deli container. Oh, that is such a nice upgrade for him. Look at him. He's loving it. Very cool. Although with Vinegaroons, you do need to clean their enclosure once in a while because their scent of vinegar is quite strong, and sometimes they'll release it as their defense mechanism, either when they're catching prey or whatnot. So I recommend cleaning them as soon as you smell the vinegar, because too much vinegar can actually be bad for their health. So it's important to keep them very clean. But they're really cool inverts and very interesting to own. Look at that long tail. It's kind of like a bumper cars. And that's where they squirt out the acetic acid. Awesome. Alright, before I do the centipede, let's do the chalcodes pair. So I have the female here. And to rehouse her, open up the lid. Hello, Marilyn. Call her Marilyn the second. Ah, she's so calmer. It's okay, baby girl. She's very, very calm and very docile. Look at that. Yeah, I think a critter keeper is actually nice and perfect for her at this size. Oh yeah, she's loving it. Here's the one that's marked as male. You're not so bad, are you? Can't wait to breed these guys when they mature. Perfect. That's pretty easy. He is a male. He doesn't have any epigastric furrow between the second and first pair of book lungs. Alright, he ain't happy, so I'm going to put him back in there. Yeah, definitely a lot more moodier than the female. I think I'll call him Rodrigo. I think it'll be a fancy name for him. Alright, last one is a centipede. Alright, finally for the Scolopendra alternans, also known as the giant Haitian centipede. He's trying to burrow, which I don't want him to, because I want him to see his new enclosure. There you go, look at that. Look how fast this centipede is. So I think to Elroy 515, you can see how fast these guys are. And it's probably something you wouldn't want to handle. So anyways, this is its enclosure. Like I promised, a 5-gallon tank. It's perfect substrate level, because I don't want him to burrow as much, because I do want to see him out sometimes in the open. And it's pretty tall enough so he doesn't go around and start to run about like my mutilins unfortunately did in the past. So considering his old enclosure versus his new one, I say this Pede is pretty happy, wouldn't you say? And I'm going to put a piece of towel and block off half the substrate so I'm able to retain the humidity in there, because that's what they need. So all I have to include is a little water dish, and that's pretty much it. Anyways, done and done. So, there's the rehouse video of the Scolopendra alternans, the Haitian giant centipede, 5-inch unsexed specimen. There's he trying to dig a burrow. I bet he's enjoying his new enclosure. My Aphonopelma chalcodes, desert blonde. That is my male. His substrate is a little bit too wet, but over the time it's going to dry up and he's going to go back to normal, starting to walk around his enclosure. My female chalcodes is over there. She's awesome. Alright, my confirmed male, Phormictopus auratus, Cuban Bronze. What a beauty of a specimen. Never seen a Phormictopus this beautiful. Hair-kicking Lasiodora fracta, Brazilian smoky gray bird eater. And finally, back to my tea room. Got to vacuum this carpet with this lovely 1978 filter queen. And the Vinegaroon is over here. Mastigoproctus giganteus. There's that little guy. Look how happy he is. Sweet. Alright everyone, hope you enjoyed this awesome rehouse video, and stay tuned for some more new videos to come. This feeding video 104 should be aired probably by late this week.